It's probably quite chilly when we leave.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Snellings,
Present.
Ferris,
Here.
Behrens,
Here.
Keating,
Here.
Eichmann,
Present.
Throm,
Here.
Schrader,
Present.
Gurecki.
Present.
Quorum is present.
Thank you. First up, we have approval of minutes of the regular meeting, September 22nd.
Move to approve regular minutes, September 22nd, 2025 is written.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You go.
Next up, we have approval of minutes for the special meeting, September 26th.
Move to approve minutes, special meeting, September 26th, 2025 is written.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
8-0.
Next up, we have public comments. If anyone would like to come forward at this time and speak to a maximum of 5 minutes, please give your name, first and last name, your address, and ward. One at a time, or you can come up together if you'd like, I guess.
Show of force.
But please, each do give your name. Thank you.
Okay. Chris Masserino, 1217 Hometown Drive.
Mike Detke, 1209 Hometown Drive.
Wade Maddox, 1212 Hometown Drive. Eric Wright, 1221 12th Road, Ward 4, all of us. So, go ahead, Chris, if you want to start.
Yeah, so I know I've lived there in the house there for just over 10 years, almost 11 years now. We bought the house. The house had asphalt on 12th Road. It was kind of worn, but still somewhat maintained over the last several years. It's gotten continuously worse. Potholes washed out every time they were filled in. It just seems like we could never keep the road in basically where it should be. 5 years ago, there was a meeting about getting the road replaced. And I can say that honestly, it felt a lot like, here's your options, and you guys will pay for it. And I think even at that time, we said, no, that's not how this works, right? You can't just throw options at us and increase our taxes because the city's not maintaining our road. So we pay taxes every year. Our taxes have gone up a couple different times, and still our road's not maintained. So a couple questions on how did we get here? Who made the decision to just rip the road out and put this in? Because you guys can take a look at it. There's no rock, there's no gravel. Is this what we get? Is this it?
There is rock on that road. I drive a school bus on that road. I drop his kids off, I go through Hometown Loop.
Where is it?
There is rock in that, mixed in that. There
What
may
is-
not be any
5%?
in that, but there is rock in that, on that road.
What's the percentage of rock and what should it be?
Yes. I would agree that that is more fines than the road out there, not even this, but I went out and looked at it, is more fines than I expected.
Yeah.
And I've got questions about that as well. I will speak to the reasoning behind tearing it up, and that was safety. The comment has always been that it's unsafe because there's no track for a vehicle to take. Two vehicles couldn't meet each other because the road was so rough. So the idea with grinding it up was make it safe as a step to making it right. It's never going to be the end goal. The grinding it up is not a permanent solution by any imagination.
When are we getting rain? Next couple days, we're getting rain,
Probably
right?
tonight, yeah.
What's this gonna do to our road?
It's going to be a slurry.
It's gonna be a
I
slurry.
agree.
So what are we gonna do now?
I don't know how the rock was chosen. Maybe, Josh, can you speak a little bit to why that rock specifically was used?
Sure. As a reminder, we try not to comment during public comment period. This time is for residents to talk. As far as the road, it was advised to us that this rock where we got it from at the time was fairly good rock, as I have told, some residents. As you look at it, you know, it is very clay with a little bit of rock. Our plan is to try to get it settled, which some rains will help do, and then put back actual rock on it as well. So that has always been the plan. We need to get a solid foundation before you just put rock on it.
Was this stuff tested before it was put down? Do we know if there's any contaminants in here that we should be concerned about?
We got it from a reputable rock quarry in the area.
So is that a yes, or is that a,
It was not
I
tested
don't
by our
believe it's
staff.
standard practice for rock from any quarry in the area to be tested. So I doubt that it was because of that.
I was just gonna make one comment on the rock, that if that's what you're gonna use for a base, I know that Hall Brothers turned that away underneath the highways, because it's not stable enough. So there's that one thing there. If that was the goal, it's turned away on highways, why would it be any different under any road?
I want to just say one thing also. As far as this rock, before the road was torn up, before this was put down, I came in and I asked where the material was that would be put on the road until it is paved or concreted. And they told me where it was from, and I asked if it was when the previous owner that had the quarry was running it, or the current one that's running it, and it was from the previous one. And I made the comment that they need to check that, because you can ask Mike Craig on that. They had 3 miles on 6th Road past one of our farms that they had to blade this exact stuff off of the road after the first series of rains, because if you didn't have a 4-wheel drive pickup, you would get stuck. And they had to literally blade every bit of that back off of the road, and it took them all summer of hauling in good rock from Holmesville, and then every time they graded the road, they would bring a little bit of the mud back across with the rock and mix it back in with the rock to make the road passable again. And that was brought to attention as soon as we were aware that it was actually going to be torn up, like on a Wednesday or Thursday, we got those letters. And that was when my concern was where was the material coming from that was going to be put on it until the road is finished with asphalt or cement. So this was brought to several people's attention, Josh and Will Rolfe's attention, and I asked if anybody had looked at it. You know, and Josh told me that several townships that were hauling it had made the comment that it was better than it had been in a long time, which if you have driven the roads after more than a light rain that the stuff out of that quarry went on to, it's not good. And I just know that from personal experience with having this material on roads past some of our properties in the country.
How long ago was that material that was laid down that had to be scraped off? How long ago was that?
I'm guessing probably 3 years, but the material never changed. You know, because we're always looking for good rock for, you know, up to the feedlots and stuff like that. So we kind of pay attention to the material that's coming out of the different quarries. You know, Juniman's had good stuff down south, and then they hit soft shelves, and Brutus was the same way. And but that material can change as they get, you know, hit different rock veins or shelves or layers.
Absolutely.
And so I kind of paid attention to that, what was coming out of the different, you know, Juniman's and Bruna's. Juniman's first quarry down by Waterville, and Bruna's quarry, and also Kane's old quarry, or Juniman's or Rocky, you know, whatever, you know, it's south of town.
what's the game plan for the road? What's the timeline?
2 years.
2 years for what?
2 years till the funding can be in place to replace it.
And what's it gonna be replaced with?
Probably asphalt. At least the majority of it will be asphalt. Maybe the turning radiuses or the first section will be concrete. That's TBD by the council at that time, but
And that's
it'll be a
down-
hard, permanent, hard surface.
And that's more by 36?
Correct. The idea would be maybe till the turning radius to hometown, because semis come in and out of there, that it might get torn up pretty bad if it's just asphalt, but running south, the traffic volume does not, and the turning heavy truck volume doesn't warrant concrete there. That's the logic right now, I would say.
And just so you guys are aware, this decision was made just because we were listening to you guys. We were listening to the safety aspect, seeing the roads, how they were, listening to everybody coming to us, explaining things, their concerns. So this was our process to try and alleviate something, not just do nothing, until we can get a plan in place to do that. So I just want you to be aware of that. We're listening to you guys, and we're trying to come up with a plan and evaluate and get things going as fast as we can.
And I agree on that. That surface material does, I mean, it concerns me. And it's also very dusty. Pretty easy to tell where you leave that when you're going south and you hit the other gravel, because the dust is not even half as much dust. So, I mean, I think dust can, I mean, just in my personal opinion, I'm not speaking on behalf of the governing body, but I always thought we should commit to dust control in between now and when the permanent surface goes down. Because although it might make the surface a little less workable, and it'll make it a heck of a lot less dusty, because you're not going to want to be outside during the summer with that being dusty.
We can't use, our patio, I sat down on
Yeah.
our patio furniture, we can't use it already after 3 days.
I understand.
And, I have one more thing to say quickly. Part of our concern is, when we started talking about this, we were led to believe that this would be done this fall, and we would have to deal with this winter. And then we discovered that, and then the rest of it would be finished next year. And then we discovered there really is no timeline, but it's in the planning. And our concern is our property values, our loss of being able to use our houses, our yards. A lot of us have put a lot of work into those yards to make them places where we can entertain company and enjoy our families. And that has been a huge concern. And also, I believe I've discussed this with you, and I don't remember who else, and maybe Josh, I think, when I was in here the other day, and you guys had talked about some of the projects being larger projects, and you thought you could help and do like several smaller projects. Is there any way we can maybe split this up and get started and maybe get the lumberyard done first, and that way the whole turn this into 2 projects, so it's not all hitting at once, and we can get part of it done at least to get stuff started on it?
That can definitely be discussed, I would say. I think the concern I have is, having been around here a little while, is that when we've done projects that way, it ends up taking longer than us just doing it all in one fell swoop. Like 11th Road, that's what happened. I mean, it was past Kramer Oil, and then it was another section, and now it's been 8 years or whatever till the south section. And I'd rather us not do one section and then, you know, well, we've done something and we get distracted, because to be honest, this group here is not going to look the same in 2 years, and it's not going to look the same again 2 years after that. And it's really hard for us to commit that. So I'd rather we commit to putting it in. We get 11th Road done this year, then we get that done. I mean, that is, to my eye, 10th Street, 11th Road, then that is the next project. As much as I've got it in my heart to do some other ones like 7th Street corridor, I'd love to see that developed. Completely different animal. Nobody lives on that right now. To me, that's why we've got to tackle 12th Road next, and we've got to commit. And I think the majority of this group's going to be here in 2 years, but it's also going to be people like you guys holding everyone here to account. I mean, maybe you shouldn't have to, but that's really what it takes.
And all of us here purchased those homes because we did not want to live on a gravel road. I grew up on a gravel road. I bought my first house in Marysville in 1994 because I did not want to live on a gravel road. And we have several properties with homesteads. We could have easily built on one of our properties. We already had utilities. One of them even still had a septic system working. We could have done that. We did not want to live on gravel, so we purchased that property because we were on a paved road.
Because we had discussed it back, I don't know, maybe a year or so, to do it in phases.
Yeah.
Then you start looking at the mobilization costs.
That mobilization fee.
You pay more and it takes longer.
We could save mobilization costs if you just do it all one time.
That's kind of why 11th Road this time was finish 11th Road, get it done, And that way it's off the plate and we can go and do 12th Road next. And it's not as long of a road because it doesn't go all the way, at least as it currently envisioned, the asphalt doesn't go all the way to Keystone, but at least to where the asphalt was here till recently can be done in one fell swoop.
Asphalt.
Asphalt, yeah, well, what, the chip seal that was there. But really, I get why this would be a concern for safety too, frankly, if it's really dusty and slimy. But really trying to widen that road back out so school buses and kids driving to school and everything else, there's not a collision. That was probably our biggest concern, was getting that done. And just getting the rest of the way is gonna be the challenge, and it's funding.
I'm newer to the neighborhood, so I don't have as much skin in the game as these guys do, but I think what we were all coming for was really, just wanted to know that there was a timeline actually, because that's, what we knew was there was no plan, so that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, at least, I mean, if 2 years is what it is, and that's what it is, I'm just not sure that the way it is now is safer than what it was. It might be a little less bumpy at the moment, but give it a few months, I don't think it's gonna be any better than what it was. And it might be just mud. I mean, unless, did you say that they were thinking about putting some more gravel on top?
Once this is, compacted or settled, whatever the term is, the idea was to put down I'd say more of a regular gravel on top, whereas this would be the base.
Is there a timeline on that?
At this moment, no, because ultimately that's up to vehicles on the road and then, of course, rains and that stuff. We have taken a packer, on it, so that way it starts working that process, but the more vehicles on it is actually gonna help it, to get more packed in, so that way we can do it.
What's the latest timeline before we're gonna see something change there?
As far as, like a new
Gravel.
surface or
No,
new gravel?
Additional gravel, can we get a commitment on dust control?
At this
I
point.
would say we shouldn't dust control till that gravel gets on, because otherwise you're just gonna cover over your dust control. If we get moisture in the next couple days, can we go check it after that?
Yeah, I mean, we will always be looking to see when the right time is to do it. I just cannot give you a timeline, but, you should know that's a lot shorter of a time frame than 2 years or even the winter. It should be.
Should be before winter.
then.
And we have the resources to put that down?
To put rock down.
Yes. And hopefully that will help with some of this. And then when spring comes, if we need to look at dust control as a way to keep the kind of manageable, I think that makes a lot of sense.
I think the idea behind all this whole decision to do this was to get the process going. I know I've heard a lot about promises for a new road and things. I wasn't here then, so I can't speak to that. But I know I'm very concerned about this issue. I've definitely been listening. I know everybody up here has been listening, and that's why we're starting the process. We're at least trying to get the ball rolling instead of just leaving it. We have to get a base going, so this is one step forward on that. So we're not leaving it bumpy and potholes and everything. We're at least getting the process started, so that way we can continue and hopefully get you guys a good road to drive on as soon as we can.
And I don't know if this changes anything, but a lot of the roads kind of washboardy right now already.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say we're definitely at an inflection point here. I mean, obviously, and I hear all your concerns. I think it's really important for us to take strides to make this happen based on the amount of property taxes you guys pay out there. Not only that, but I think that this is something that is really slowing the progress down out there as far as developing it. I think if we were to move forward and actually get something done, that you'd see this develop a lot more out there, which would benefit everybody. So I see that as a priority, and I don't blame you guys for having concerns about this, so.
Yeah, I think I was gonna hit on that point too, as far as, we moved here 8 years ago, brought a young family to town, built on the road we did because of where it was. Could have easily, touch on Mike's point, I have plenty of ground I could have gotten to build a house outside of town, chose not to. Young family. The problem is if I wanted to build on a rock road, I could have built south of there in the Keystone Addition, right? That's not what we did. And touch on the property tax side of it, I would probably put it right up there with, we probably pay some of the highest taxes out there. Rightfully so, we put ourselves in those boats, but that's where we wanted to be at. And it's done nothing but gone backwards. I've heard The highest number I've heard is 20 years this has been going on and promised that this road was gonna be fixed. 14 and 20 were the two highest numbers. So this hasn't been just the last 5 years, it's been a 20-year problem that just keeps getting kicked down the road. And that's what we're trying to avoid. We don't want this kicked down the road any more than it already has. So, yeah.
Well, I think we're committed to making sure that it doesn't get dropped. Like Chris said, this is a first step, kind of crappy at the moment, but the first step towards actually getting it done, I think the council is committed to, within 2 years, having the project funded and moving forward. We'll find a way to get it done because, like you said, it's been too long. I think, actually, the number I heard is, I think, 27 years since that was brought into the city limits. I know that's how long 11th Road has been, and I presume 12th as well. So, yeah, no more stopgap. The money's been spent trying to patch holes over the years that could have been done to redo it, so time to just do it right.
Including the one I put in the.
And to the mayor's point, I just want to reiterate, you know, the council changes so often, you know, we can make promises in 2 years, a new council comes, they can nix that, okay? So I would just tell you guys and talk to everybody in your neighborhood and everything else, hold the council, you know, accountable.
Well,
Keep
how do we-
coming to
how
the
do we get
meetings,
stuff in
keep
writing?
pushing the issue.
How can we get stuff in writing?
Come back here.
This is the closest thing. It's being recorded and broadcast to the world. That's the closest thing to writing. I hate to say it, but that's just kind of the way it works. Also, I mean, you've got representatives, Ward 4, and everyone here actually will listen to anybody from every ward. I mean, I hate to say keep in our ears, but keep in our ears. We're gonna keep, you know, when budget session comes around, when budget creation time comes around in not actually that many months, we'll be talking about it then, so. I mean, you know, for what's worth, I'll commit to us talking about it here at council as far as what progress and what the next steps are. I know Mike knows he can call me. Anybody can call any of us. So.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Just remember, squeaky wheel gets the grease. You know, we can commit to it, but like I said, you guys are the ones that have to hold us accountable, no matter who's sitting in these seats. So the more you guys push it, the more you guys pursue it, the more you keep that level of commitment on talking about it and keeping it at the top of the pile, the easier it's gonna be to get those things done.
So when the city agrees on a project, it's not set in stone, even though the project's in motion already?
I mean, until it's voted on and those projects are, you know, have a contract signed, yeah, exactly.
Until the funding's approved.
Right.
Yeah, we're limited actually legally on what we can hang on future councils. But that's why, I mean, we've got to push this forward and then push the gravel on top forward, push dust control. I mean, it's every one of those is another unique one. I mean, we're committed to it, and most of this group at least will be here come winter and come after winter, so.
Okay.
Anything else, guys?
I'd say, I guess the next step, which sounds like it shouldn't be too far in the future, should be getting gravel down. So
Getting gravel or rock
if we can,
of some sort, yeah.
can we get an update on moisture tests or the compaction, whatever you gotta do?
In what way? Like,
If you could reach out to
phone
our
calls or-
person and have them reach out to us or
Yep.
something,
And
just
we
let
can
us
talk
know
about it
and
here
say.
too, but yeah.
If you come into City Hall and get with Sammy or the City Hall staff and leave your concerns with them on updates that you want, leave number, email and all that, they will notify you and keep you updated.
Okay. I think that's where we're at now. We just wanna make sure things are moving forward, so if we know that's on the way and we know that 2 years is what it is, then we'll work with that. And hopefully it's maintained in the meantime.
Yeah.
Cause as it is now, it's
rough.
not gonna hang on
I
very
agree.
well for very long,
Agreed.
Yeah.
so. Okay,
Okay.
thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate your time.
Can we let the gentleman from the YAC come next?
Well, I want to make sure, but real quick first, anybody else here for public comment? If not, I would like the representative of the YAC to come forward and talk about the recent YAC meeting last week, if you wouldn't mind, sir.
Oh, I had a special little spot and everything too.
That doesn't work. That just gets you up there quicker.
My name is Garrett Staggs. Basically, the main we talked about the 7th Street and the plans we had shown of ideas that we had gotten in order. A lot of us talked about it and really liked how there was a bunch of different, in a couple of them, pictures we had, there was a bunch of spots for a bunch of different activities we could have done. Like there could be one music section and one cornhole or a small little mini golf course, for examples. We basically talked about that and said what we thought we want to see there. We also got an update on the highway project on 36 by the high school and where that's going to take and how long that will take place. We talked about the trails connecting, which I think, if my thought process is correct, that would cross through 7th Street and connect City Park and the River Trail together. We also talked about getting like crossing guards up by 12th and 11th, since there's like no stop signs there to direct traffic, especially with like half days, like last Wednesday, where, going with my personal story, I almost got hit because of the half day, because it was so chaotic, everyone trying to pick everyone up. So we proposed the idea of, with the high school, with school clubs, every other week, the clubs switch off, and with how big our clubs are, it could be a new person every day. And I believe Todd talked about over at the Bulldog Apartments in Keystone that there'd be adding more housing over there. So we proposed the idea of adding a park. So when more of the houses do get added, they would have a spot to play and have fun instead of having to come all the way into town just to get to Lions Park. We also talked about adding a trail that would connect Keystone Road and the Bulldog Apartments to the rest of town, so more people have either a quiet place to walk or a quicker way to get into town to get everything they need. That's actually the main thing to talk about. If you guys have any questions, I will try to answer them. Am I going to be able to give you precise answers? Probably not. But I would love to hear them and hear what you guys would think.
I think I would just say the meetings I've been to, I'm just highly impressed with your guys' thought processes, the way you come up with things, the way you speak, the way you act. It's all very professional and honestly beyond your years. I'm pleasantly surprised how you guys commit yourselves and, coming up with these great ideas of things that I would have never thought of. I think it's important that we keep these young minds going that are coming up with ideas that are really going to help Marysville and, bring it into the future. So I would just applaud you guys for the work you're doing and the ideas you're coming up with.
Thank you.
They touched on Civic Engagement Day, that some of them were there, and I suggested you may want to take some of them to Local Government Day in Topeka. Yeah.
Yep, no, and it was good to be able to hear a little bit of their feedback on Civic Engagement Day. I was one of the speakers there, and I've been talking to Mr. Woodcock in the school too about how they can build that up and do some other things to kind of get more youth involved, because I've heard, like Chris, I've heard a lot of good things. People are excited, and this last meeting was, I think, the longest one I've been to yet. It was very productive. I felt like we had a lot of really good conversation, different ideas from different people. It was really great to see that excitement and kind of you guys grabbing some of these projects by the horns. I'll have more to talk about that later in regards to the crosswalk issue, but really, yeah, no, you guys are committing your time and effort, and it's appreciated by your community.
I would ask this of your committee. I really like this park idea for the development and stuff, so maybe you guys can talk about what kind of parks. We went to government conference actually last week, and we met with vendors and stuff that build different kinds of parks. So if you guys could maybe put together a couple different ideas for the type of parks you want, like playground equipment, or there was one vendor that made these pretty amazing like skate parks or bike parks or things. So maybe just discuss what type of parks you guys want and bring that to us next time. That would help us to decide on that.
I think that'd be the perfect place for a splash pad out there.
Oh, I don't know. There'll be more splash pad talk probably
But
in
the
this
bike,
meeting.
like the thing they have out here, they brought that up the other day. Maybe getting something like that out there on a trail that, where the kids would have somewhere to ride their bikes.
Yeah,
That was brought up.
somewhere that's a little more convenient to the
Yeah.
growing youth population out there. Yeah.
Good ideas.
Has your group started talking with the different school clubs yet about the crossing guards?
I don't believe so.
We were gonna run that through the administration. I'll have more to report on that later. I had a meeting with the administration today regarding that,
We
so.
had somebody here at a meeting volunteering their time and others to help out with that.
Right. No, I think we're hitting a critical mass of people willing to push on that effort, so. And the YAC is gonna get a lot of credit for helping, because I think that helped. You know, when I talked to the school administration today, they thought that you guys being excited about it and having good ideas was, you know, kind of got them excited, like they needed to push on it forward. So just another way you guys are doing good is helping push that through, so. I don't have any questions myself.
Nope. You guys are doing
Thank
great.
you.
Great job.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll move forward to the Black Squirrel Day proclamation. Whereas the governing body of the city of Marysville, Kansas, by official action on August 8th, 1972, ordained the black squirrels the city's official mascot, and whereas the black squirrels become a beloved symbol of Marysville's history, its hospitality, and community spirit, drawing neighbors and visitors together in celebration, and whereas the ordinance 1027 further provides that at nut gathering time, the mayor shall proclaim a Black Squirrel Day, on which day all city employees and officials shall be excused from all but essential city business duties and devote their efforts instead to the planning of and participation in this day of celebration, parading, pageantry, and feasting, and other nutty or squirrely activities appropriate to the day. And whereas the Black Squirrel Fall Fest showcases local businesses, organizations, volunteers, arts, and family-friendly activities that strengthen our community and promote Marysville as a place people are proud to call home. Now, therefore, I, Todd E. Fry, Mayor of the City of Marysville, Kansas, do hereby proclaim October 18th, 2025 as Black Squirrel Day in the City of Marysville, and urge all residents and visitors to join in the celebration of the Black Squirrel Fall Fest, dated this 13th day of October, 2025. So let it be that.
Let it be.
Do we need to approve
I
that?
don't think we need to approve it. I already proclaimed it. You can't do anything about it. All right. I have no notices or hearings. Moving forward to business and discussion. First up, we have the sidewalk replacement ADA ramp project at Minnie's Kitchen. Jenny Spellmeyer, would you like to come forward?
You guys realize I get up really early in the morning to make donuts. I don't make the donuts. I should, to open the bakery. My name is Joni Spellmeyer. My address is 711 North 17th. I'm in Ward 1, although I'm speaking about 813 Broadway downtown. My business, Minnie's Kitchen, has quite a large step in front of it. Prior to us replacing the front doors, there were two front doors with a wood panel down the middle, which someone had put a grab bar on, and that worked. To make the place look nicer, we put brand new doors in, and I do have quite a number of elderly or handicapped people that have a hard time coming in that door. So I think you guys all have a picture. That was a rendering that the Main Street gentleman, Robert McLaughlin, I believe, had drawn up when we were first starting the planning when I got the HEAL grant. And so that's what I'm proposing. I've heard yays and nays from different people about it. Right now, the sidewalk replacement is kind of in the future. I want to want to get the approval first for the ramp, and then we'll hit because the sidewalk out front, it needs to be replaced anyway, so, but that was just, and yes, I'm going to come back and ask you to help with the sidewalk improvement
Project.
cost share, okay, thank you. And in the future, but I think the ramp needs to be agreed upon. I do not have a timeline yet, because I know that you guys will probably need to talk about it and that type of thing.
I have a question. I mean, I know by this rendering, the ramp is going perpendicular to the building, and I'm sure that's probably because the length you need to get the rise sufficient for ADA, it doesn't make any sense to come straight out. Is that the reason it's that way?
Yes, so we had thought about bringing it up to the building.
Straight to the door.
However, I've watched too many people with walkers that have trouble getting up the small slope that there is there now. If it's slick outside or something, it's gonna be, they're just gonna, yeah, slide
Yeah,
right
that
down.
was, I figured that was the reason,
Yeah.
as I've seen this in bigger cities, some of them have just the front entry that goes right up, but that's because they have a lot more sidewalk and a lot more.
Well, and every business around me has an inset that the ramp kind of goes into the door. My door does not do that. I would have to build into the,
Right.
to the framework.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's still gonna look good, I think.
I really think it looks good, and we're not going to have steps on the opposite side. I will say that part of that is because I don't want it used as a ramp for skateboards and bicycles.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Smart.
There's a lot of people, there,
Thinking
if you
ahead.
sit in my building and watch it, you know why. So I'm open to questions if you guys had any questions.
So you got a grant to fund the ramp and everything?
No, I don't. That was part of what, I got the HEAL grant. That was written into it, which the HEAL grant was 50/50, so I spent 50 and, they reimburse. I do have the funds that were left over that are sitting in an account. Do I have all the money to do it? No. I have to come up with it.
But you're not asking the city for the ramp portion of it and the railing?
Unless you want to. I didn't know that was a choice.
No.
You can ask for anything.
Okay.
No, I think the biggest concern, the only concern I would have is making sure, of course, that it doesn't go out so far that it impedes, other handicapped people if there were cars parked and that sort of thing. And as long as there's room for them to pass safely, we have allowed one other ramp similar to this was the Bolton McNish office at the time. But I'd say that's a very similar in premise to this.
Well, I know that Will had one issue because there was a tree right there at the, I don't know if it shows up on that picture or not.
Yeah, sure.
I'm all for the trees downtown. I think they're beautiful. But if it comes to my ramp, I'd like to get rid of the tree.
With respect to at least the rendering, it looks to me like since it is only going to the east, there's still quite a bit of room between the corner of the ramp and the tree. It looks like it's more than 3 feet, which I think would be sufficient for passage.
Okay. Well, and I'm hoping that we can come, I believe it's 5 foot for an ADA. I'm hoping we can come from the tip of the doors out instead of
The brick out.
yes, exactly, yeah.
That makes sense.
Because the step is probably a good 9 or 10 inches, there, or if not a foot. So that wouldn't put us out as far as it might be. Yeah.
I think we should encourage accessibility to these sort of things.
Yeah.
I would only, wouldn't want people not be able to support your business because they couldn't get into it, so.
And when there's precedent, we've allowed this before for another business. Any other issues you see, Josh, that pertain?
No, it was really just the ADA on the sidewalk that we were concerned about, and I think we believe it's covered at this point, so.
Looks good.
Yep.
And they're responsible for their own sidewalk in the snow, right? Because that would be the only thing is if
Same as everybody else.
if we would have to go scoop it
Yeah.
for some reason.
Oh, no, I scoop it.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I'll just say, that on the request, I don't know the legalities of this, but it's saying to replace the sidewalk and do the ramp. And I know she said earlier
Yeah.
she's gonna be coming to the city later for the sidewalk work.
Mainly, I was gonna do the paperwork for that too until I found out a little bit more about it. So when I wrote up the request to come in, I put that on there. But yeah, we do plan on replacing all of the cement on our property, just because it's patched. Now, one concern I have that will come up is there is a brick layout that's kind of right to the northeast of the front door. So I don't know what happens when that comes
Generally,
up.
I know historically we were asked that that be put back into the new one so that it maintains consistency across downtown, but
So do we need to amend that in order to be compliant, or?
I was gonna say, are you looking for approval of the whole project now then?
No,
Or
no.
just the ramp portion?
Just the ramp.
So we could just move forward with the request for the ramp.
So I'll amend my motion and I make a motion that we approve the ramp portion per the request.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
8-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony, thank you.
All right, next up, we have the One Marysville request, Wayne Cruzy.
Good evening. Mr. Mayor, during your proclamation, as you were talking about city employees are to be released from their services, when you talked to Iola Henry, Iola worked for the city of Marysville in 1972, and when you talked to her about the early days of the Black Squirrel celebration, she said that was taken very seriously, and she gets credit for serving coffee and the black donuts, because in 1972, the city offices were downtown where like where Impulse Archery used to be in those two buildings. And right down the block was the Broadway Bakery owned by Carl Alt. And since city offices were right by the bakery, it was Iola's idea to start serving the Black Squirrel donuts and Black Squirrel coffee. So just a piece of trivia there. And credit to Iola, she's always happy that this tradition continues. You'll notice in my report, I gave you some data on the impact that the Gravel Dash and Pony Express Roundup had on our city. You notice that we had over 1,900 visitors right there on Broadway for the Gravel Dash. And as you look at those numbers that we got from our subscription to Placer AI, they stayed for about an hour and a half, which means they didn't come just to get the race started or just to cheer someone on at the end. They stayed. And then when you start to dig into how did they travel throughout the city, you notice those top favorite spots are El Ranchero, Casey's, both CJ Expresses, and Marysville City Park. And if you had a chance to talk to any of those that stayed in City Park, next year they want us to add a pickleball tournament on Friday, because a lot of them start coming in on Thursday and Friday and they want things to do. So that park plays an important role in many of our celebrations, but certainly in that one. And then when you look at where are these people from, you notice that 70% of the people are from Kansas, the rest come from other states. Tops are Nebraska, Colorado, and Missouri. And then when you start delving into that other data, you see Beatrice, Lincoln, Manhattan, Topeka, and Emporia are all top placers. Today I looked at this from a citywide picture, so the data that I put in your letter focuses on the numbers on Broadway, but I thought, well, what happens citywide on an event like that? And that got interesting because it started to break down what they call non-residents and what they call out-of-market visitors. So non-residents are people who are close to us, probably in the county or right outside the county. They were comparing last year's numbers to this year's numbers to see who was here. And we had an increase of about 2,000 out-of-market people coming from other places to see this. So that shows that even though the event is technically in downtown Marysville, it still has an impact, a much broader impact than that. So as I was looking at those regional mixes, I was looking at the data from Nebraska, because we often talk about, are our marketing dollars working? And so when I was looking at how we spent our marketing dollars for Gravel Dash, we certainly did advertising with KNDY and Ole Red, so those markets that reach into Nebraska, the Advocate. But then when you look at some of our non-traditional advertising, the group went up to Beatrice and Lincoln. By the group, I mean those volunteers who work on the Gravel Dash, to attend events up there and then to have booths at some of their events. So when we're spending those kinds of dollars, we see them returning here as well. And then I thought, we went up to Des Moines, Iowa for the Iowa Bike Expo. And I thought, well, I wonder if we got any people from Iowa. And so when you look at the top 10 states of the people who were here, Iowa came in 7th. And so, well, you know, there's some money well spent. And then I got to thinking, we placed a billboard in Holton. And so I wonder, are we seeing and so the billboard in Holton talks about ride here in Marysville, come ride the Blue River Rail Trail. The numbers from last year's Gravel Dash to this year's Gravel Dash, when you look at it citywide, double from Holton. Again, giving us an indication that something's going on. There must be some kind of message that's resonating. So as we think about all of that, some things that we're thinking about, that we'll be talking to you about as people are navigating the city or who's coming to the city, temporary wayfinding signs. Like for these events, what if we had signs that might say a 5-minute walk to, you know, fill in the blank, or public restrooms, or right over there is where you want to go eat, or things, some simple things like that we could add that could help people figure out where to go. This year, I noticed a lot of people were saying, oh my gosh, people are hanging around here at the Gravel Dash. Well, it was a beautiful weekend. It wasn't hot like it was last year, but if it's not a cool weekend, do we need to be adding some more shade structures? Those are conversations that we've been having. And then something that I know we'll be talking about more, electricity. As we do more with food trucks throughout the city, having access to those 30 and 50 amp outlets is really helpful. So those will be things that I think we'll want to talk about. So then you notice in the request, I talked about that texting service. As we're looking at the people who are here in town, are there ways that we can reach them, not just the weekend that they're here, but to get them to come back? And so through that Engage by Cell, that's the service that we use for our audio tour, and that's used countywide. We pay for the Marysville portion, Marshall County Tourism pays for the other cities. They also have a texting service within that. And once you buy into that texting service, you can have all these unlimited groups. So you buy the number, and then you could have a group for people who are interested in outdoor activities. When I talk about the city could have something, if you want a reminder about water bills are due, or whatever it might be, it opens up this myriad of options for us. So it becomes a way for us to communicate with people on a regular basis, and it looks pretty affordable. So that's a request that we have in there. We also talk about Christmas on Broadway. Our Christmas activities start on November 7th, which is a Friday. That'll be our Christmas open house. And throughout the Christmas season, there are 10 different Christmas events we're holding. One of them would be Christmas on Broadway, where we will unveil the city's new Christmas tree with these beautiful new lights that Sammy and I are in the process of ordering for the tree. And so we thought, since we have this beautiful new tree in downtown Marysville and Pony Park, I hope you're getting the same kind of feedback I am. People love having that real tree. Let's shoot off some fireworks to really celebrate. So we threw in a request. We would love if the city would throw in some money so we can make that a little bit bigger display. And then finally, we recommend that in 2026, we celebrate the 4th of July on 4th of July. We have been vacillating on that, quite frankly, and within this past month, people really came to us and said, this really is, my family is coming home, and when they come home, we really want to stay home to celebrate our 4th of July. So let's have a celebration on the 4th of July, especially in 2026. So that's our recommendation so that we could start planning that.
I got a couple questions.
Okay.
On the information you put in here, it says you actually know like the income from the people, like their meeting? How are they getting that?
It tracks your phone. And so when you think about how we're using our phones, they're gonna be pulling that kind of data from that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we can't dig in there and say, like, ask about Chris
No,
Schrader.
yeah,
It's
no,
broader
I was
than
just
that,
curious how they got
it-
that, but is there, you know, where it says 62.9K medium income, is there something we need to be doing more to make it more attractive to the lower income or the higher income? Just a thought.
Well, that absolutely is a thought, Chris, and you start to figure out how do you program that? How do you make sure there are activities for all levels?
Yeah, right.
Agree.
Just a thought anyway. And then, on 4th of July, to your point, I've actually gotten a lot of comments on that as well. I know we've been kind of trying to schedule it because we know other cities are doing theirs and we're trying to be, lenient for everybody's plans and stuff, but from most of the people I talked to, they said, hey, we're Marysville, we can have ours on 4th of July too. So I agree. I think changing it to the 4th of July, in my opinion, is a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. I'm all for technology, but do we have to send this out for quotes or request for proposals like we have to for everything else?
So with the cost of it, that actually falls under our procurement policy limit. And then also with them being a company that's already used within here, that also gives a little bit of bonus. As far as that, we would still obviously prefer it because there are a lot of companies out there. But when you look at the amount of SMS messages that are allowed under that 3,500, there's not a whole lot of companies that do that many for that price.
Okay.
Even when we were looking at, I think it was TextMyGov, it was a lot more than that.
And that that carries over.
Right,
Which we
right,
found
and I
really
saw that.
attractive too.
I thought that was really interesting that it doesn't expire. That's a
Do
good
you
idea.
think the city would ever use it?
As far as reminder for water bills, I don't think we would want to use it through there, with the
I
new
was just
system.
pulling examples out of the
They'll
air.
get their bill in the mail, it might not be a bad idea.
With the new system, there's actually an ability to notify them anyway,
Oh,
so
perfect.
we don't need to double up, in my
Right.
opinion.
Okay.
Other services, cleanup day,
Road closures, water.
yep, road closures. If you went down into a certain area, you should be able to, do that.
Target specific.
Yes, because you opt into this. So you could say, hey, if you want to know about road closures, here's the QR code or here's the number you call to get in there. Hey, if you want to know when city events are happening, da, 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 da. Hey, if
you
you,
say-
Stop it at any time.
If the
Exactly,
city's
yes.
wanting to do that type of thing, I don't know if our new system will allow it. It will. So
yeah, the city
otherwise,
probably
I
would-
would say we're probably gonna need more than 100,000.
Right, that's why I was asking.
I'm not even sure if one Mary's will be able to fit under the 100,000, because
It depends
I would
on how much,
assume
yeah.
there's gonna be more than one message per month, and there's gonna be a good amount of people that would wanna sign up for it.
And I got another question, Wayne, on that aspect of it, is for these people to receive the text message, is that something they have to actually sign up for?
Yes.
Or is it just targeted and it sends it to everybody?
no, you sign up for it like via a QR code or sending an email or
Sending an
different-
initial text
Yeah,
to it, and
texting the
then,
service,
do
yeah.
you wanna subscribe?
Oh,
You hit yes.
and then it also lets you opt out whenever you want to opt out.
Just the.
So how do you, if this goes on, how do you get that information out there to get people to sign up? Is there a?
Facebook,
Yeah, and so let's talk about Gravel Dash Week, and there'd be a couple of things that we could do. For the people who are riding, as we send out registration stuff, we could say, hey, here's a way to sign up. We could have QR codes on placards. At events like that, within the city, there are a number of, just think about how we communicate regularly. There'd be a number of different ways we could get them to sign up.
just like if you get a text message in and you don't want to get them anymore, you just type in stop and
And it stops.
automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
unsubscribe
reason I was
share.
asking, because I
Yeah.
always get all these text messages and I never signed up for them. So I'm wondering how they accomplish that.
You've signed up for them somehow.
How many people you talk to a year that ask you where stuff is here, here, and here? I mean, and do you feel like we need more signage?
Yes. Well, yes, when you think about how people are navigating the city, I don't think we're helping them figure out where to go. Like, especially if you look at day-to-day operations. Walmart, people are coming to Marysville because they want to go to Walmart. But you notice they're just going, there's a pretty high percentage, I don't have this off the top of my head, that just go to Walmart. That says to me, somehow we're not connecting with them to know that I'm done at Walmart, but I could get fresh meat at Tony's Meat Market, or I could get a drink at fill in the blank for what they could be doing. So yes, I feel some kind of signage in that broad sense of that term is needed, yes.
I wondered about the temporary wayfinding as well in the tennis tournament that was here this
Yes.
last week. There were a lot of people there who luckily locals were either eavesdropping or talking to them and like, oh, you can go down here to, Minnie's Kitchen. You can
There you
go over here to the Marysville Mercantile. You go down to the corner, bistro. You can go do some, and that's how they found it, is by word of mouth.
Yes.
But if we had a pop-up way of targeting those people, all these things are a quick walk. They don't even have to drive.
Absolutely.
I think you capture more of that.
I was looking to see if Joni was
Temporary.
Remember, Wayne, when we were kids, they had the one that sat on 8th and Broadway there? The
Well,
one
you're
that
a
flipped
little
back
bit
and
older
forth.
than I am, so I don't quite remember that.
The sandwich sign?
The sandwich
That
sign.
always set out on the middle of
I
Main
don't
Street.
remember that, yeah, yeah.
It said, Legion ball game tonight, or.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And it was just a blackboard that,
So it's just like an A-frame.
yeah, and they
Yes.
wrote on it with chalk. And
Washington does that.
Yeah,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
Adam does that. A lot of
Yes.
small towns do
A
that.
lot of,
That's right.
Hanover does
Yeah.
it once in a while. So are we done with all the signs that we put up?
I would say there are opportunities for more, like Wayne mentioned, just a little bit ago by Walmart, there really is no welcome sign. There is nothing on that side that really says,
You're in
welcome to
Marysville.
Marysville. There's more than just Walmart as you're coming in from the east. I know growing up, we would go to Walmart and we'd head back, so.
I do it in Fairbury.
So that would be one opportunity for one, and then of course with some of our current wayfinding signs, you're driving and the text is almost too small.
Right.
So either trying to get larger font, cutting what's on there so that way it really hits home what is there.
But I think some of those kind of temporary ones or mobile ones are good because they aren't there all the time. So when they are there, they grab your attention more. And you can flex them to different needs based on the event, that sort of thing. I think that's a great idea.
On the fireworks, where will they be shot at?
In the 7th Street, well, we haven't figured out exactly where, but in the 7th Street corridor, just north of the tree.
Is that going to be further off of the highway, do you think? So that way it's not distracting to
That would
people
make
driving the highway?
sense,
Okay.
yeah. Mhm.
7th Street corridor north?
That was the idea, was north. So that way people are sitting on the
In
south side of the
Pony
pony.
Park looking at
Yep, it's behind the tree and the statue.
You'll have to figure out your radius of where you're going. There are
Yeah.
state rules on that.
Insurance.
Yeah, it's just not, hey, let's do it right here and hope stuff. There are the fire marshal, I assure you, has very strict rules on that, so.
So you better get on it if it's November, 7th?
No, that's November, what did I say, 29th?
29th.
It's that Saturday right after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So people, families are probably in town.
Any other questions for Wayne on the One Marysville request?
So there are 3 different requests.
Request.
If you want to think of them as 3 different requests. The first one, I believe being SMS text messaging suite.
I'll move to approve the request for the text messaging in the amount of $4,932.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
7-1.
The second request, I believe, is for the fireworks and 1,500 city contribution toward the display.
That would come out of the,
We could put it out of the transient guest tax dollars.
All of it could come out of transient guest tax, correct? Yeah.
Yep, yep,
And
and that would include the SRF.
Again, the date on that?
November 29th. You've got a calendar right behind you, is that right? Is that Saturday?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So depending on clearances for in.
We can also wait and, say, find out more information, come back to us next council meeting.
We have time now.
Yes, we have time, however, I'm sure when Marysville would like to figure out the funding on this, so that way they can figure out how big of a display it is. I believe the local supplier has time on that as well. So.
I'll move to approve the request for the fireworks for $1,500.
Okay, it's been
Second.
moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
8-0.
And then the last request is when we're holding 4th of July.
Move to approve it on the 4th.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
8-0.
I do have a question on the Black Squirrel Festival.
Yeah.
What time are we going to do donuts?
I feel like it starts at 3. So we are set up at Ott Electric underneath
The awning?
the awning, like we have been. I know the paper from this past week does say freeze, but we'll be under Ott. We'll get that corrected for this week's paper, so that way people know where to find coffee and donuts.
And just to be clear, that wasn't an error on the advocate, that was an error on the person standing in front of you. So,
We will have a change in the type of donuts. I can't remember exactly what we'll be providing. I think it's strawberry chocolate and then a third special kind that Joni is
Glazed?
coming up with.
Oh, Joni?
And then glazed as well.
So the donuts will be provided by Men's?
Yes.
Good deal.
So we're just gonna start at 3 o'clock?
City staff will be setting up before them, but yes.
We're gonna start handing out
Yes,
donuts at
whoever-
3 o'clock. That's
Yeah.
why I'm asking.
Yep.
Do you have enough volunteers yet?
I will be asking for volunteers later. If you guys want to email me, go ahead.
My niece has a wedding, I'll be in my hometown.
And we will be having a chili fundraiser for the fire department as well. So might as well push that in there while we have the chance.
and tomorrow we'll unveil, there will be a haunted house
I saw that.
in
Is
the
that
900 block of Broadway.
Above the pharmacy?
No, that
No,
is in
above
the
905 and a
the
half.
three-story building in the,
Mr. Block.
yeah.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep, I believe it's mainly going to be on the second floor. We will see
I'm not,
how they set it up.
that's not my strong suit. I'm not going in there because I'm scared of all that. So you enter at your own risk.
The hospital used to do one all the time when I
Right.
worked there. So,
Okay?
They did
Okay,
one
thank
at
you,
the
Wayne.
city-
Yes, thank you, everyone. Yep.
Thank you.
There's an old house in the city cemetery. It's torn down now.
Sexton's house.
They did it there, and
oh yeah,
I
I
only went
remember
once.
that.
I was pretty young, and I went,
Legion, they used to do it
this
at the
farm boy
Legion,
didn't
too.
like that.
All right, next up, we have vehicle purchase request from the police department. Chief?
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for allowing me to speak. I tried to anticipate any questions you guys might have and wrote that in the request, so here to answer any questions. The only reason we're requesting the purchase now is they said it usually takes between 2 and 3 months, and so we're right in that sweet spot. What we don't want to do is wait and then have them close that window and us not be able to order them on fleet pricing. So any questions you have, I'm here to answer. Yes, sir.
Yes. When does Chevy close their fleet bids? It seems like we're always late on Chevy.
Yep.
Are they that far ahead of everybody else?
Well, I can give you an opinion, and so Nordis doesn't know either. And so I've heard two different things. One is they only take X amount of fleet request because they
per
can make
year.
more money
Yeah,
on
okay.
others, right? And then others will tell me, no, it's on a undisclosed window. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just,
I don't know.
I know the last several years, we always get,
We've tried.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
At least
Yes,
we
sir.
try.
Oh, I know,
Yes, sir.
no, I know, but.
Yeah.
I would ask if the council is going to approve the request that they make the motion for this to come out of the municipal equipment fund to be replaced by the general fund in 2022.
What's gonna happen with the old vehicle, chief?
We won't be using it, so we'll discuss it with Josh and see if there's any other departments that would like it, and if not, we'll likely sell it on purchase.
Auction it off.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So maybe we can utilize it somewhere else.
Sure, sure.
And you've been happy with the Dodge vehicles?
Very pleased, absolutely. If, truly, even if it was a little more expensive than one of the others, we'd probably still make that request if it made sense. We've been very pleased with the Durangos. We've been pleased with the service we get from Nemaha Valley. Yeah, they've treated us wonderfully. As you could see, they actually didn't raise their prices for us this year, which is great. So yes, sir, we're very, very pleased with them, and to date, we haven't had any concerns.
What year did you say?
How many of the
2026.
Dodges do you have now?
We have one Ford and then one additional Ford pickup truck, so this will make 6. Yeah, so we've got 5.
For a while, we didn't have Dodges. It was all
Right.
Chevys and Fords. That's why
Right.
I was checking on that.
Yeah, very pleased. And I hope you guys don't mind that I combined the upfitting and didn't separate it. In the past, we've requested the vehicle purchase, then come back for the upfitting. But this will allow us to have KCOM make those orders. So once that vehicle's in, we can ship it down to KCOM and they can immediately start the upfitting.
And the pricing's all locked in, and, yeah.
Roger.
Move to approve the request for the Nemaha Valley Motors Dodge Durango for $41,000 and the upfitting for KCOM to come out of the municipal vehicle fund in the budget year 2026.
It'll
just
come
wanna
out
add-
this year, and then,
Out of the general, yeah.
and then money will be
Oh,
refunded from the
sorry.
general fund.
I wanna
To
add-
come out of 2025 budget and be reimbursed through 2026.
I want to add it to KCOM bid was 15,378.75 for a total of 56,378.25.
Okay, it's been moved
Second.
and seconded.
I would also ask that the motion is amended and that within a reasonable amount of time, the vehicle is marked accordingly as a city police vehicle.
Yes, sir, we would do that anyway. The only reason I don't have that in here is it's a pretty nominal amount to get it graphic, but we absolutely 100% have intentions of marking it.
Okay. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Veto.
Thank you. Next up, we
you.
have your
Thanks,
water
Chief.
damage bids. Chief, don't leave yet.
He's here yet.
Okay, so at this time, after all this time, we were finally able to get a couple different bids. At first, we were only able to get one. I believe Sammy has provided in the packet a pretty good explanation of insurance's breakdown on that. We were eventually able to get another bid. This one meets closer to what the insurance was thinking that it would be. And that would be from Hartner Construction, and that is for most of the restoration work. Then for the flooring, I believe that is through Zine.
Yep.
So it's two separate companies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Dezeen's is $5,500? Is that correct?
Yes.
And what was the carpet?
506.
The Pinnacle, it looks like they're gonna allow for, carpet allowance was $976 and vinyl tie allowance was,
Yeah.
$1269.
$1269.
Yeah.
That's basically half of what Dezeen's quoting?
Yes. So the insurance stated that the hard tile flooring with grout was an upgrade as compared to what we had before, which was a hard tile. However, slightly different, in how it's done. And so they, like I said, they felt like it was an upgrade. Their preference would be a vinyl tile instead.
Ceramic tile. Yeah, that's what we put in. Ducine was doing the full flooring, and so through the conversations that we were having when the inspector came and looked at the laminate that we had, he said, you know, with this water probably wouldn't be a problem, and I don't know that it would pop up. And I was like, well, let's go take a look, and I'll show you in the bathroom, and that's actually where it was all popping up at. And his original thought was that it was ceramic, and he said, okay, that's why it's popping up, is because it's not. And so we have a magnificent police station, and one that the city can be proud of for a really, really long time. And so my thought with preferring the ceramic tile is this is a long-term investment, and the right thing for that building to do to make sure it stays superb over the long term. For the, I think it's about a $3,000 difference total from what insurance is covering, including the depreciation, right? So I felt like it was the right decision to make sure that building stayed long-term, something that we could be proud of as a community and as a city.
I'll move to approve the bid from Hartner Construction for $11,250, and the bid from Dezeen for the tile for $5,501.06.
Second.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Is Hartnett from Bigger Rabbits or?
No,
Those
here.
are just up 7th Street.
16th Street.
Yeah, but shop's up here.
Yeah.
Family's from Bigger Rabbits.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Chief, appreciate it.
His mom, his dad is Shane Hartner.
He
Yeah,
used to be a sheriff's deputy too.
yeah. Well, Chance used to be.
Chance, yeah.
Yeah, Chance.
All right. Next up, we have the permanent construction easement for Nordis Investment Company Incorporated.
Move to approve the easement.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Seems that we've already dug up all this ground.
It'll come out nice in the end.
Yeah.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next up, we have special warranty deed for Landau Corporation.
Explain this.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually have Sammy explain it, since she was the one that was working on it the most, yeah.
We had a representative from Landau Corporation contact us because they realized that, I believe it's shop 10, 20, 30 up in that area, the city still held the deed to that land.
So now we own the building?
Well, so because they took out an IRB, an industrial revenue bond, to fund that, the property was deeded to the city. So that was paid back in 2007 and must have slipped through the cracks. No, nobody from the city or Landau's realized that that was all paid off. And so basically now, since everything is paid off and they've realized that, we should deed that back to them because they've fulfilled their.
So
their
Landau's is the one who paid that back?
Correct.
Yes.
We just never finished the paperwork, basically.
Basically, yep.
Move to approve the business organization special warranty deed.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
I was gonna say.
701.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have 15th Street Storm Sewer Highway Settlement. Would the representatives from CES like to come forward?
Good evening, guys.
Evening.
Before we start, I don't want to derail our conversation, but Chris, I'd like to, I'd add to your comment about the Student Advisory Council. You complimented them on their work and their ideas. I would like to compliment all you all for just taking the initiative to work with them. I mean, I've been involved in economic development in Marshall County for 20 plus years, and we always talk about how do we get retirees back? How do we get people to stay? And I think, one good step to recruit our young people is to get them, let them know, you know, what our community has to offer, so.
To speak to that point, we actually went to a conference last week for government conference, and they actually spoke about this. How do they bring the youth back? Because, you know, a lot of them go to college, they get careers, and they don't come back. And there was pretty heavy hitting on ideas and ways to keep, you know, interest in the youth to come back and start families and start businesses and things. So,
yeah,
I think it's a good thing. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I agree. So. Okay, so you all should have some information that we put together based on the settlement in the highway. As a quick summary, the cause obviously isn't known, but checking with our geotech sub-consultants and a couple engineers we have on our staff that have a geology background, it's our belief that it was caused by the fact that the work was being done. The existing pipe that was in there was plugged. Once we got down to it, there was no water flowing through it. However, when the bore pit was dug, and the 6 times that it filled up with water, which was amazing, that contractor planned that. He planned that start date based on 2 weeks of hot, dry weather. And then as soon as he dug a hole 12 by 20 by 15 foot deep, it started raining about every 3 days. But there was water still getting into that box behind Bite Me Barbecue. So there was water, what we believe was getting passed on the outside of that old pipe. So anyway, with that being the case, we laid out 3 options there. One would be to do what they call a pressure grout, where basically you drill down in a number of places, pump grout down into it, and just basically lift the highway back up and fill the voids in there. The estimate on that was on the low end $80,000, and the guy said $80,000 to $90,000, but really wouldn't know until you started pumping grout into the void. So the other option would be to completely excavate, like a full depth trench, come back and pack it in, compact it back in, and then just build it back up. KDOT is not in favor of that at all. And quite honestly, based on the conditions of the soil during that whole operation, probably wouldn't be a good idea anyway. And it would probably start raining again too, so. The third option would be to basically edge mill it, and then come in and fill it in with asphalt. Again, one of our consultants that we use, he used to work for KDOT 30 years ago, and they did this out on I-70 west of Salina, where they had the interstate was basically sinking. I think it was maybe some gas wells out there. And they came and filled it in and waited for it to settle again and filled it in again. And I will tell you that since it started, we'd measure it about 3 times a week. We'd put a string line across it, and initially it dropped 4 inches, the worst part. About a week later, it dropped another ½ inch, but it hasn't, for the last almost 2 months, it hasn't dropped a bit. So, I mean, kind of our belief is it's probably where it's going to be.
There's a lot of heavy trucks over that too.
Well, and I'm not out there all the times, Kevin, but the times that I am there, when there's one of those big loads going through, I always run over there to see if it moves, and it really hasn't. I haven't noticed it lately, so.
On that hydraulic lift you were talking about, are they gonna have to use like GPR to determine if that grout's just gonna sink into other little holes that may be in there caused by the rains and everything else, or?
Well, I mean, basically the way I understood, I was on a Teams call with a guy from Omaha probably 3 weeks ago, and he was talking through it, and they just drill in a lot of little places, and it's like sticking a straw down there, and they just pump it in there, and you know they just kind of fill the void. So.
You're basically mud jacking.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah, that's what it is, mud jacking.
I guess I'm just asking, what are the chances are they get in there and drill all these holes and then they have to pump in 10 times the amount, I guess is my word.
Well.
And that's probably why the range of cost.
Yeah. So, they do a lot of it on, like bridge deck approaches, so they kind of know already what that area would be voided.
And with that, on each end, obviously, there's a crack from where the asphalt settled. What do they do in that instance? Is that be ground down and repaired with asphalt?
Yeah, that's where they'll grind it down and then bring it level back in. Yeah.
If we do the mud jacking, I mean.
Yeah, if we do the mud jacking.
Yeah. And to that point, Chris, not really knowing the extent of it, so we have street view photos from 2023, and there were already signs of that.
Yeah, there was
Seems-
already a dip. I
Yeah.
remember it. It was
Yeah.
clear
You
from
can
before
see
they
where
started.
the lines
You can
were.
see the crack where it went across.
Yeah.
Where it's been.
Yeah, so anyway, wanted to present to you what the situation is there and really maybe your three options.
Is there a
Well, two really, since one's not a really very good one.
Sounds like maybe counter
Is there a recommendation between the two? What's gonna be the longest lasting, safest option?
Well, not necessarily, but I will say, Chris, that again, talking with probably the best option for maybe the city at this case would be to edge mill it and fill it in with asphalt.
Do that.
Talking with Hall Brothers, they thought, I mean, it's right almost at the end of their season. They'll be putting equipment away for the winter, so the timing is really pretty good. And they estimated, was it 25 to 30,000 to do that? Probably have it done within a 2-day period since it's.
I was gonna ask how long
Yeah.
will we have to divert traffic? Is that
Right.
something
That's
that
what
we
they
have to
thought.
consider?
Yeah, and we've got enough width there, we can move it over in phases. Yeah.
That works good till that big combine with duals comes down the highway.
We have to stop them maybe.
So the traffic will still be able to
Yeah.
flow uninterrupted even with the milling?
Yeah, we just might have to shift them over in stages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rob, I know I've talked to you a little bit. My kind of question on this is, would this problem exist if it had been done as we originally planned for it to be done? Not bored, but cut? I mean, it wouldn't have collapsed because the old pipe would have been removed and we would have backfilled. This would have been a non-issue as it was originally planned, right?
Well,
I mean, it couldn't have collapsed because it wouldn't be there.
It wouldn't be there. However, Todd, I think it was a really good thing they decided to bore that thing. Because we might have had a disaster with the way that soil was. I mean, there was an old creek bed that was filled in. It wasn't very stable. I mean, there was times those guys were rushing to get steel plates in there and then grouting it shut with flowable fill just so the highway would stay, so that edge of the highway wouldn't fall in when it was raining the way it was.
Right,
So,
well, I
it
mean,
would have been,
I get it, you know, to be devil's advocate here. And
Yeah.
because it's kind of, I look at it like our role to defend the city coffers a
Right.
little bit.
No,
This
absolutely.
is an already very expensive project, and this is additional cost, and it strikes me as something where, the way somebody phrased it to me was, if you hire me to fix the roof on your house and the gutter falls off because my ladder was leaning against it, that's still on me. That's not on you. Yes, your gutter may have been crappy before, but my leaning against it is what caused it to fall off. So
Yeah.
I'd like to think there could be a little discussion as far as where the burden for the cost lies as far as contractor versus city. I don't know that, I feel like the city should be hung with all of it. That's my opinion.
That's a good point, Todd, and what you probably have maybe realized too, the contractor hasn't submitted a pay app yet, which is pretty amazing. It was interesting when he was doing on that bore, everybody thought he was about done and he was only about 10% done with that whole project. So, there was a lot to do yet, and he's done a lot and hasn't requested a pay app, but we're starting to talk with him about it, and there are pieces and parts of that we're gonna try to summarize and bring as part of the data. I mean, we don't wanna react just on emotion on this because of situations. We wanna try to bring the data to you guys so you can really see where, you've got a really good contractor, which is good. You talk about your storm sewer in town that needs probably some work. We would wanna keep him in favor, to put a bid in again. We're gonna bring all that data to you guys so you can make those decisions on how you want that to play out, so.
And all that said, despite the fact that it costs more, I always feel like we do so many Band-Aids that if we're just filling it and it's just gonna squeeze out, it feels like it'll just always be a problem if we don't grout it, if we don't do it right. I hate spending more money, but if we don't do it right now, I feel like in 10 years, we'll be like, oh yeah, that's that same spot where the collapse was.
We're
and
gonna
it's-
mill it off in 2 years
I was
anyway.
Yeah,
gonna
but
say, the highway's gonna be redone.
But how thick will, I don't know.
Yeah, I
don't know.
Yeah.
I'm very worried about Band-Aid fixes. I've been around a minute.
I'll just throw it out there that I make a motion, we move forward with the mill and overlay. That'll be my motion, then we can go to discussion.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded that we go forward with mill and overlay discussion.
So the discussion I would have is, as far as putting the contractor on the hook, I'm gonna guess that if we really dive into the contract too close, I don't know if if force majeure would apply to this.
Well, I think we noted that on our.
Yeah, it's not, it's something that, the contractor and we cannot, control. So I don't think as Rob.
God.
So I don't think we want to go down the path of putting our foot down with the contractor, with the possible future projects.
Well, and to along those lines, Jeff, too, so currently we have traffic control out there, so if, this would have happened 2 years from now or 3 years from now, or it didn't happen during this operation, the traffic control would be gone. Say it happens in April or May when Hall Brothers is gonna be, I mean, it would have been more of a reactionary type emergency situation, where right now we've been monitoring it now for almost 2 months. I mean, we feel good that this mill and overlay would, and I know what you mean, Todd. You're right, we've had discussions, and you hate to do, I mean, you had a group of guys up here earlier that were talking about a Band-Aid for a road, so, I get it, it's tough. I also spending, for the city to spend 20 or 30,000 versus almost 100,000, I would be hopeful that would be more than a Band-Aid fix.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, for what that's worth, I guess, but
Yeah,
we've talked a lot, so that thing's dropped like that, August 4th. And so we've been watching it, monitoring it, and just because, there were times I'd be laying in bed at night at 2 o'clock in the morning thinking that thing had collapsed. Just things that could have been way worse than what they were.
Now that you've said that, can you say on the record that it is safe and not imminent collapse? Because that was one of the rumors going around town, was that there was gonna be equipment disappearing.
No.
Rob, I have a question on that.
No, I'm not going to.
Everybody right now is driving in the middle.
Yeah.
We start moving traffic back outside, do you think that will change and drop that any?
Well, we've watched
You know what I mean, because right now everybody's pounding.
Oh, yeah.
And when we get back out, we'll move out another 3 or 4 feet out towards the shoulder.
Yeah.
Will that cause the edges to drop any more?
Well, we don't know, but we can tell on the north side during construction, they had their big equipment there, their big high loaders and stuff, and we kept an eye on it there. Plus, they plugged that hole with flowable fill all the way up to, so that north side is pretty.
And actually on the south side, they had to bring in the concrete trucks and stuff to pour all that concrete to patch the pipes and stuff too. So
Yeah.
even the south side.
I'm just curious if they thought there was any chance of the edges settling once we get it done.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Kevin.
Do you know if the sidewalk on the north side along the building there going back, is it ADA width? Because it wasn't before, and I just thought that would be something to make sure we didn't just go back with the same. I think it is, isn't it?
It should be, yeah.
Yeah.
How much concern should we have with this fix with like freeze thaw cycle or like heat of the summer, like with it expansion contract? Is it something that could potentially be an issue of it splitting apart once it's already been fixed or buckling?
I think that would be more than if it settled more.
Yeah.
Because if you hit,
it was just speculation. I'm just curious.
You're gonna have movement under there more than likely because there's a concrete. So we cored down through it. Our guys did, and there's 3 inches of asphalt, and then I think there's 10 inches of concrete.
Yeah.
But if you go west past 14th, it's all on top of brick.
Yeah.
So that whole highway's moving underneath. Yeah. So
probably unlikely.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have that massive water flow.
No.
It's probably washing everything out.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any further discussion?
On the operational impacts, may require load restrictions. You got a number in mind or just?
Do what now?
Current settlement may require a load restriction. Do you got like a load requirement weight in mind or?
Is that's where it's at right now, the condition right now, as it sits right now? Well, I tell you, no. I guess the answer to that is no, but we've watched, like I said, we've watched over 2 dozen heavy loads come through there, and it's holding up pretty solid right now. Yeah. Does that answer your question, Keith?
No, yeah, it did.
Okay.
Okay, there's a motion on the table. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nato?
So what's this North Connect extension?
That's the next item.
Oh.
Item 2.
Yeah, so you guys should have this exhibit.
Yes.
This was put together fairly quickly, so, so this would be the north connection where it was gonna connect back into the existing storm sewer. And this north location right here where that junction box was, if you can see the dashed black lines on there, was where we anticipated the storm sewer to be based on city maps and whatnot. Well, the contractor dug a hole there to find it so we could start to check elevations and stuff, and didn't find it. It wasn't there. Maybe I don't know, maybe that's not a surprise to some of you. So what we did is through a couple different, I mean, that's 15 foot deep in there, so it was hard to find a locator that would go 15 foot through soil to get down to it. So I think it was the contractor's father-in-law had a directional drill head for a directional drill that we kind of rigged it up and stuck it down in there, and it would reach that 15 foot.
Oh,
so
like a boring drill head. That's smart.
Yeah, well, it was his idea. We just helped. But the dashed green line is where the actual sewer is.
Huh.
So.
Wow, that's way off.
Man.
And there was one of the contractors guys got down in the manhole and walked 30 foot into the pipe. And we also had a video of, Hanover Electric came over with their video camera.
Yep.
And that pipe is in pretty bad shape. That's why we wanted to bring it to you guys' attention. So we could move everything south to this south red square and connect into where we believe the sewer is now. We couldn't really quite locate it right there, but we came in from the north, we came in from the south, and we got about a 50-foot gap in there that we have a pretty good guess at it. Or based on the information we gave you guys, we could still set that junction box there and run north this extra 120 feet and just bypass that existing green that is in bad shape.
The bad pipe.
And that we had estimated at 150 to 200,000, I think.
So what street are we on? Are we on the highway?
No, that's 15th Street. This is 15th Street.
15th Street.
So the very north end of that red, Colleen, is right in front of the Knights of Columbus Hall.
Where?
Right in front of the Knights of Columbus Hall.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is 15th Street and this is Carolina?
Carolina.
Yeah. So we could stop down here if you guys choose to do that, or for that additional, what we have estimated 150 to 200 to extend that, and just bypass, upgrade that existing.
So question on the pipe that's damaged. So we just replaced all this so water can flow again, where it probably wasn't flowing before through that green line as fast and hard as it should, correct?
Yeah, there'd be some, it would have been backing up,
So it's probably not flowing. So what are the chances that we don't do anything? That now that we have this high flow of water volume through there now, that pipe's gonna collapse underneath the street
Yeah.
anyway?
Well, yeah, no, that's a really good question. Probably just make it deteriorate faster. And a couple of things to think about is, I mean, you can all decide if it's a need or a want at this point, and if you decide it's a need, it'll be a need 5 years from now, it'll probably cost twice as much.
Yeah, 'cause they're there.
You've already got a contractor on site. I talked to him the other day and asked him if depending on what you guys decided to do, does he have time to stay on site and just finish it, and he said he did, so. Now, they just got to the alley there behind Nordis, so we've got about another week, roughly, and he'll be ready to make a move on this,
They
so.
finally got out of the rock up there.
They're just about, not quite, but they're just about.
They've had to mill a lot of that rock out of there.
Yeah.
We think they're gonna get out shortly because we had a core drill done at the north end of this project and it didn't hit any rock,
Didn't
so.
hit rock. Well, that's good.
And it's gotten a little bit softer and,
I say that whole hill is rock.
Oh, I know.
Because
Remember when they put,
when we lived at the motel, yeah, it was a problem.
I remember when they put the additional bogarts up there and blew that stuff out of there.
yeah.
So Josh, on the extra cost of this, I mean, what are the funding options if we decide we need to do this?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot out there. You know, you're looking at your sewage and water revenue funds potentially.
Can we get an extension on the loan?
We would have to ask
Yeah,
about
that's what I was
that.
gonna ask, can the bank just add that on to what they've already loaned us?
We would have to ask in order to get that into place without a pay app. That might be something they'd be willing to do, but ultimately that, you know, we're gonna have to talk to them and see. I would also be looking at, you know, your different savings funds that each water and sewer have, so that way you might be able to take portions out of each one. That way it's not as much of a hit to any of them.
Take part of it out of the stormwater fund?
Pretty slender.
The problem with the stormwater fund is, you know, we're making enough for a payment while we haven't started
Right.
making payments. Ultimately, the goal is also to try to save up money in there.
Right.
So this is one reason, of course, why we started the stormwater fund in the first place, was to provide money in order to pay for these types of projects.
You said we got about a week before he's ready to
Yeah.
entertain this idea?
Yeah, depending on the weather. I mean, yeah, a week from now, he'll be at this location where either we stop and connect to the old or continue on.
Go north.
So can we research funding options and maybe have a special meeting?
I was gonna say, do you wanna, I was gonna say, we can either do a special meeting, or if the bank doesn't want to, can we still fund it by piecemealing it together from other funds?
We would be able to figure
One
that out.
way or
Ultimately,
another.
that should go through council as far as where those monies come from. Yeah, so I would say we'll want to make a decision on where that's coming from, even if we go back and change that later and say, you know, all of it's coming out of the water revenue today, you know, and then you know, next council meeting, we say we're gonna refund a certain amount for sewage revenue, or it's gonna make the accounting a little bit difficult.
Do you need time before we make a decision on this?
We'll want to research the funding on that.
Can you call the bank first thing in the morning?
Is
that your first call?
Can we, do you wanna go ahead and like tentatively get an idea when we can have a special meeting?
Yeah.
Can we take it out of this, borrow it from the swimming pool sales tax?
I mean, we can always
Yeah,
do another
okay.
borrowing agreement if the council, wants to. However, we're already doing that on the Highway 77 project,
Right.
so I think we would want to try to figure out a way to fund it in a different way.
Do we have any more questions for him? He probably wants to get out there. We can
I believe part of that was getting, refunded back due to the junction boxes too, right?
Yeah, that's
So-
part of that summary that we were trying to pull together now that we need to pull together a pay app.
So you're saying the junction boxes being put back are a part of this 150 to 200?
No.
No,
That's,
okay.
yeah, that's,
Okay.
no.
I had a question. How concerned should we be about the condition of 15th Street after all this work happening on and under it? I mean, what's the plan as far as going back for, if we do cut this all the way up there? I mean, that's gonna be a
Well-
lot more to go
Well,
back,
is the
right?
soil bad, just
Soil-
as bad here as it was under the road?
I'm kind of unforeseen things coming down the pipe.
Well, so we have that, part of the design and spec is we had, so along the highway, when it went east and west, we had a spec and the material for that. And then coming up through here, you have an agreement with CES to do some, compaction testing. So we'll use our nuclear gauge to test that as it comes up so that, make sure we have proper, through this section.
Through this section
Yeah.
there, 'cause that's a long stretch, so.
Yeah, yeah. And so far, he's done a great job of backfilling.
That includes resurfacing of
Yeah.
15th Street too?
So that's coming with, a concrete patch through there.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then if this goes through more curb and the sidewalk at the.
Yep, that's
at
all
the Knights
included.
of Columbus, yeah.
Yep, that's all included.
That's nice grass and we'd be tearing it all
Yeah.
up, yeah.
So.
Well,
Obviously, we table it until we have a special meeting, and we need to do that in the next,
Yeah, so, if we need to have a special meeting, just, next Monday, would that be soon enough? Does that give you enough time, just prospectively?
is that enough time, next Monday?
So I wanna make sure
contractor.
we have time, yeah, when does the contractor need to know by? What's that date?
Well,
of the build back?
About a week.
Sooner the better, I mean.
Before next week.
Well, that's what I wondered.
So he's got a little bit of pipe that he can put in there, but he'll be wanting to get pipe coming and stuff, so, ideally, and then again, I know what it's like not want any more meetings, but if there's any way you would know mid to late this week would be probably pretty ideal.
That'd be better.
But if you think it needs to be next Monday, we can
Thursday.
work,
Thursday.
we can work something.
Thursday.
Yeah, we could do
We'll
like
try to get something figured out.
We could always do
Thursday.
like a 5:15 or 5:30 or something on Thursday.
Yeah, let Sammy get consensus.
Yeah.
Please come to that meeting, Rob.
What's that?
Please come to the meeting on
Yeah.
Thursday at
We'll have a special meeting at
5:15.
15.
5:15,
We can get a
5:30.
majority of people here at least,
Can I check,
5:15.
before I say for sure?
yeah.
this coming Thursday.
The 16th.
Yeah, that's.
What was the date on it, Sammy?
16th.
When the
16th.
rains are full.
Does that answer all your questions?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Rob.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob, appreciate it.
Thank you.
16th at 5:15.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we have ordinance 1950 rezoning lots 4A-2 Brocky Heights to subdivision.
Move to approve ordinance.
Second.
50.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call? Sorry, should have given you a little time to get that
Nope,
out.
you're fine. All right, Snellings,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Weichman,
Yes.
Throm,
Yes.
Schrader,
Abstaining.
Gueracki,
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we have the consent agenda.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
8-0.
Thank you. Next, we have presentation of appropriations ordinance number 3857.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance 3857, the amount of $273,484.22.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Roll call? Sorry, I did it to you again, didn't I?
Snellings,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Weichman,
Yes.
Throm,
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Gueracki,
Yes.
8-0.
Thank you. Next up, we have city administrator report. Josh?
Yeah, so as I'm sure you've seen across social media, we do have the contractor for Highway 77 mobilizing this week. You should see traffic control out there. And then also, if you travel north of City Hall to 8th and Ann, you'll see that we have a hole there. We did end up finding a galvanized line there, so we are replacing that, of course. And we're gonna have Young Backhoe start looking at it, since it is a little bit more of a complex one without crosses the intersections and stuff.
Found a galvanized line? or-
Yes, we found a galvanized line, and it was leaking into the stormwater system. So that's how we found it. Luckily, a resident pointed it out to us, and we walked back through their property, and were able to follow it back up to find it. So,
Thanks to that resident.
yes.
So just curious, would they be looking at just boring that? Tearing it up
I mean,
completely?
it really depends on,
Yeah.
what their recommendation is after, they take a look at it. I don't believe they've even looked at it quite yet, so we'll see what the options are. And then we are winterizing the pool at the moment, so we will probably wanna schedule the Parks and Rec. I know with other things going on, we hadn't scheduled that committee meeting, but city staff will look at, getting a hold of that committee to try to schedule it as soon as we can. I'm sure with the meeting on Thursday, maybe we'd be able to do it after that.
I won't be.
Okay.
I'll be tight one time.
On 11th Road, we have gotten the plumbing contractor out there, and they've mobilized, I believe. They've gotten the main, connected to our system now. So they're moving right along. And then our residents have given you an update on 12th Road. The rock has basically been put out. The project's almost done. There are some dips that we're wanting fixed before we call it a completed project at the moment. And then, of course, working right away on planning for the resurfacing, of course.
Josh, on the bid for that, is the rock they were talking about putting on top of this, was that part of that?
It was not, no. We had provided the original rock, which is there, which, like I had said during public comment, we were given a note that it was better rock than it had been. So, we got however many truckloads of it, stored away for that time period. I can't remember when we ended up getting it. It might have been around June or so, sometime around then. So it has been sitting there. It's been in rain. It's been, in those conditions. So of course that's the type of clay is going to help it, set.
Compact, yeah.
Yes, exactly. But then you'll want to put something over it. It does match exactly what is to the south of it. It is the same type of rock from the same place. It might have a different breakdown as much as how much rock is there, but it is from the same place.
And on that, you talked about, completion. I think we should frame this as completion of stage one.
Exactly.
Not completion. Completion sounds
There
like
you
we're
go.
not gonna do anything else, and as we already discussed, that's not the case, so, stage one.
As was mentioned before, we were at the League of Kansas Municipalities conference earlier this weekend and late last week. There we were able to celebrate some work anniversaries for some employees. Don Ballman and Dave Richardson were celebrated at the conference for reaching their 40th and 50th anniversary respectively. So they were at the conference being celebrated in front of other Kansas municipalities. Elsewhere in the city, we also have Dan Morley, who celebrated his 25th, Shane Edwards, who celebrated his 20th, and Travis Reith, who celebrated his 10th. So of those, quite a few of them are on the fire department, and of course Dan is in the cemetery department. And then, as mentioned before, Black Squirrel Fall Fest, with that coming up, looking for volunteers to help me throughout the day, as far as handing out donuts and coffee, so.
When was that again?
It is on Saturday.
Saturday the 18th.
I will be out.
Okay. So,
Oh, the 18th, this coming.
yes, this Saturday.
Oh, I can probably help out there, sorry.
Okay.
Tell me what time and where,
3 o'clock.
and where. At
Lots.
Lots, okay.
Yes. And I believe that's all I have.
Since you're here and engineers are here as well, there's a lot of scuttlebutt around town about the concrete situation on 11th Road. Can you set the record straight as far as
Having to
how
rip
much
up
of it needs,
11th
gonna
Road to
need some
redo it.
replacement versus how much of it's gonna be good to go.
Yeah, if Rob wants
do
to
you
come
mind
back
coming
up
up?
and give that update, the concrete that was tested, and is being redone on
Yeah.
11th Road.
Yeah, so we narrowed it down. This doesn't always happen like this, but, because typically you test concrete on random numbers, and it just fell such that we had our notes from that day. It was towards the end of the pour. We know where that load was, and so it's about, I think it's 27 feet length is what's represented by that test sample. So just south of Zutterman's driveway.
On the east side, or is it the whole width?
Well, the whole width, yeah. We've got it I think we've got it marked out there,
Okay.
exactly where it's at, so.
So just cut, remove, and re-pour?
Yeah.
All the other concrete has passed the testing, so all the rest of it is good.
And this
Just
one
area.
was really, really low. We had some that were plus or minus 10 pounds per square inch, but this one was,
The rest were within the margin of.
this one didn't even make 3,000 PSI, so, yeah. It was 29 something.
I think it was actually lower. I think it was closer to
Was it?
3,000
Okay.
was the limit, and I believe it was at 1,900.
Okay, it was pretty low though.
What's the expected timeline for replacement?
Well, I just been talking to the contract, I'm trying to set up a meeting with him early this week to start to lay out the punch list items and a schedule. And I'm waiting to hear back from him, but I requested that we do that in the next couple of days, so we'll know more in the next couple of days. So.
And as a reminder, failed concrete does not come back on the city. Since we're, looking at it in this time frame, it is gonna be replaced by the contractor with no charge to the city, so.
Yep.
That include the labor and everything to do it?
Yeah.
When you come back to the
It's all
meeting
built in.
Thursday?
Oh, yeah. Now, whether he has a tightened up schedule for me by then, I don't know. I'm gonna push for it because we gotta get that done. I've been talking to all the neighbors out there and stuff, but I mean, they're getting to the point where they wanna get it done too. And
They want it
I mean,
done.
everybody does. I mean, yeah.
And the contractor has time in his schedule to do this, unexpected?
No.
No?
But that's what part of our discussion is gonna be.
He's going to?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, perfect.
Somehow he's going to, yeah.
All right,
So, yeah, thanks.
thank you.
Thank you.
sir.
Anything else, Josh?
No.
I have a question for you, Josh,
Yes.
on your city administrator report. This project here on the south side, wasn't that supposed to be a spring project?
No. It was, in the bid documents, it was always, November or something, I think.
Okay.
It's still up on our website, so I can pull it up real quick.
I was thinking it was later, but, I mean, it's quick, but.
I thought it was supposed to be done before this.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I thought it was
Before the end of
November.
October, so,
I thought they were supposed to be done by November.
yeah.
Are they gonna be pouring this week?
I believe so.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
it's ready
Well,
to
they're,
It looks pretty
I think
ready.
they're laying, rebar here soon, if they haven't already.
It wasn't in there tonight.
November 28th is when it's supposed to be finished by. I mean, we've been having conversations with the contractor, everything seems on schedule. I mean, they got it tore out within 2 days, leveled off, so.
I know, Jesse Edwards is excited, but he said more excited than him was his battery delivery guy.
No, I'm sure.
Battery delivery guy was really excited to have that good service, so.
Not stuck anymore.
Yeah, who knew? And plus, it'll be easier for them to keep snow clear in the winter too with it, so. Anything else? Any other questions on the administrative report? All right. Moving forward, standing committee reports. We had a report on the YAC that was discussed a little bit. We already kind of jumping off into that. I think we should have a street committee meeting sooner rather than later. Part of that is regards to the crosswalks. So, as I brought up before, and I've been kind of trying to get a meeting put together with the grade school and administration and the school superintendent. When we had Chief Simpson here, he had kind of been moving forward on trying to find safer ways for kids to cross Highway 36 to and from Marysville Elementary School. Of course, that project's kind of, I mean, with his departure, he was the pusher on it. It kind of got set aside. Everybody gets busy. But it's a continuing problem. It's a continuing risk for kids crossing there. I brought it up to the YAC, and they were they had definitely had opinions about it, and that's kind of, I'd hoped they would. They were more excited by, solving it than I expected. Their comments were that they had seen the hazards themselves, that they knew it was dangerous crossings, 10th, 11th, and 12th, 11th being probably the busiest of those. Some of the conversation before has been trying to direct kids to go across at 10th Street because there's a pedestrian activated signal, but their comment was in agreement with what I personally think, which is that doesn't make it really a whole lot safer because people are turning and it's still dangerous. So they thought even a crossing guard there might be a good solution. So I brought it to them as, what does it look like? How do you get crossing guards at these intersections, I have had some conversations with some of the civic groups I belong to in the community in regards to, could we get a rotation of civic groups to kind of, like this month it's Kiwanis, this month it's Lions or whatever, this month it's the Knights, what have you. And there's been positive feedback from the people I've talked to about that, but these kids said, well, what if we had school clubs do it? What if like FFA did it in March or for these weeks or whatever, and then they could divide it up. And they could have 2 kids per intersection ideally, but even if you had 1 per intersection, that would be a vast improvement over right now. So they seemed excited, like you could get a lot of buy-in. And so the kind of thought was, well, what if you had community civic organizations doing your morning one, which is probably longer, but also earlier, and maybe people could work into their work schedules, etc. And you had student organizations do the afternoon ones. So it would give them another purpose for their organization. It'd be good PR for their organization. It would be, this would be a good way for them to talk to their peers and their siblings and their, it would be very visible, which is, I think, a big part of the goal here. There's the physically having a crossing guard there, but there's also just the getting people to be aware and pay attention that there's kids and frankly, anyone crossing the highway. So I met with the school today, Mr. Schrader, Mrs. Debley at the school, and they both agreed that this is high time that something gets done. They've had some volunteers, et cetera, around right at the elementary school corners, but they don't really have staff to send down to the highway. But they were all on board as far as if we needed vests, like reflective vests, the LED stop signs for crossing, whatever we need for that. They're all on board with talking to Mr. Woodcock and their activities director and everybody else to kind of get organized with the club side. So that's why the YAC, I didn't want to put it on them to have to do all that working with the administration, but they're still going to get all the credit because it was their idea. So we're going to kind of continue having those conversations with the school, but they also, the school, have some concerns about Alston Street and traffic on the north side of the elementary school, as well as the parking spaces on Highway 36 up on the north side of United's branch bank there, because it's difficult for sight lines for kids crossing there. And supposedly, and Josh may know more about this, they might not even be legally in place there. Apparently, there was a meeting some 7 years ago, this is all secondhand, with our city clerk at the time, and there was a lot of discussion over some of the things that were identified as signs that were not properly placed, parking that was dangerous, yada, yada, yada. If that happened, I was never aware of it, but Superintendent Schrader is going to share with me some of that documentation, and I'll share it to you as soon as I have it. You may already have it buried in files from before your time. But in regards to the situation with Alston Street, they'd like for us to consider making that a one-way. So it would be one way up 10th, east on Alston, south on 11th, so that it would be a loop. Because a lot of the problems they've had is with actually westbound traffic at the top because it's tight and the parking situation up there.
Yep.
So it's something for street committee to discuss, but the crosswalks as well. Maybe this report, if I can get it in time to get to you to share out, or to Sammy to share out, maybe starting to address some of these safety concerns, because I know it'll take some review and time, and we'll probably want Chief involved as well. So those issues, as well as maybe some of the other kind of long-ranging, whether we want to look at dust control for the ground up 12th Road and otherwise. There might be some other issues street committee should meet on, but if nobody objects, I think we should have one of those meetings.
I think next time you go to the school, ask them if, like, if different kids groups do that guard walk, ask them if they could let out maybe about 15 minutes early so they have time to get up there and.
Yeah.
That's something they talked about too, and even offsetting the way that they release kids directly, like if they step it a little bit, it might ease that flow, and yeah, they were definitely open to looking at working with us on scheduling to make
It
sure
doesn't
kids.
affect the kids.
Right.
Whatever. Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of it is, that was I think the biggest thing I got out of the YC is I said, so if you told kids this, to go to use this street, would they do it? And they're like, oh, no. Kids aren't gonna do anything you tell them to do. I'm like, well, isn't that the truth?
And that kid that was here earlier,
Garrett,
he said he walks down 11th Street to school, and, because that's his most direct route, you know?
There's a lot more traffic. I don't have a great way other than I guess I could sit out on my porch and count people. You'd be surprised how many people cross that street. And by people, I mean men, women, children, going to Dollar General too, but just kids in the morning, it's, one after the other. And or in the afternoon, since they're compacted because school lets out at X time.
Right.
And Randall, of course, is out at about the same time, and there's just general traffic. It's a hazard, and I mean, it's not going to remove all danger by having, better signage, different parking, crossing guards, but boy, is it going to minimize the risk. Because right now it feels like something could happen any day, and unless we're trying to do something about it, that's going to be on us. So.
And you mentioned a branch bank.
Yeah.
Parking spot right next to a crosswalk.
Yeah, that's
a blind spot.
Yeah, it is. All the way on there's two spots there, I think, but that eastern one is right up on the crosswalk.
And the trees in the way.
Yeah, it's hard anyway because there's a slope and people come off of the highway. If they come off of 77 South, they're at 11th Street really quick.
So
People don't realize
I think
that.
the committee should consider not to have a parking stall right.
Yeah, that's what I think. We need to comprehensively review some of those spots like that. I agree.
And also down by Astro, where Pepsi and Mountain Dew always park their semis, you cannot see nothing.
On that north side, yeah.
Yes. I think they should have maybe park around the corner to the.
On 9th Street instead? Yeah, well, and there's some of that too we can probably solve by just having some conversations. I mean, I'm sure they do that for convenience, but if they can park over on the 9th Street side, we might be able to just talk to them about it. We don't need to solve everything with rules.
You need a full
I agree.
crosswalk.
I agree.
I don't think you're gonna have a hard time finding volunteers, but if you do, a lot of the local churches are volunteering
Yes.
at the food pantry every week. You could talk to them as well. And I know probably, all these local businesses that employ people have kids that go to schools. I'm sure a lot of the businesses could, have an employee or themselves, the owners, go do crosswalk duty for a day or two a week.
And it's the same with if it's FFA kids. I said, well, wear your FFA gear. I mean, that's a great way to show the good you're doing in the community. It's the same with these civic groups. I mean, if you're in the Kiwanis, wear your Kiwanis jacket, and I mean, those kids, that's a positive thing for you as well.
And the kids that need community service projects for college,
No, and the kids genuinely seemed like they thought it was a good idea. They weren't like, ugh. I mean, how teenagers can be. They were like, no, that's something we can do.
A lot of them have to cross that highway, and they see them standing there forever.
And the school did, like I told Garrett, Mr. Schrader did recognize. He's like, oh wow, that's a really positive thing the YC could be doing. And I'm like, right. So, yeah, if we can work on getting a street committee meeting, that would be great. All right, I have no appointments or wage terminations. We have no city attorney. Anybody?
He's just not.
Well, we do. We have none present with us currently. Does anybody have a need for an executive session? No? All right, we will move to council comments. Lori?
I've got nothing.
Shuri?
Well, I was going to mention the 8th Street swimming pool, but you covered that. Somebody had asked me to ask about that. And I just want to thank the city or whoever for allowing us to go to these conferences because they are very knowledgeable, not all of them, but talking to people that have the same problems. And you hate going just because there's problems, but a lot of good ideas people have. So it was nice.
Sorry I didn't get to go this year, and I won't go next year because I won't be here. But I have had a few of the city employees ask me to ask if there's any way they could have the day after Christmas as a holiday. Because Christmas is on Thursday.
So the city holiday is Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, which is Wednesday and Thursday.
I would say in lieu of Christmas Eve, but
I would agree with that, if they wanted to do like Thursday, Friday instead.
I mean, there's the hybrid option, which is half day on Thursday. That's what my employer does, is a half day on Christmas Eve. Kind of splits the difference, but
Half day on Christmas Eve.
yeah. Otherwise, it's, I mean, it is hard if people want to go
Right,
visit
with-
family or
with-
whatever. One day is always a,
Well, with Christmas being on Thursday,
I get that.
you know, you just, yeah, so.
County always got 2.5 days.
Do something like what Landals do, work a full day like on the 20th and you get the Christmas Eve.
I don't know, what's the council want to think about that, I guess? I don't
Got
know.
a little
My
time.
question
I
would
think,
be.
think about it.
Let's think about, my question would be too, you know, amongst city employees, you might have the conversation if they would miss having that Thursday off, how they feel about having Christmas Eve
Wednesday.
off, or I'm sorry, Wednesday. How they feel about having, Christmas Eve off, if that's something that's pretty valuable to them, you know.
So
You might
they
have some
asking
family
for a
traveling, too.
paid day off or just the day off?
Probably paid,
Paid holiday,
yeah.
Legitimate question.
yeah, we can think about it.
Yeah.
So that'd be 5 days in a row.
Good to think about it this far in advance
They're
at
off
least.
Wednesday,
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That gives us no city employees for 5 days.
Except for Josh, he works
So,
365,
yeah.
unless it's a leap year.
Well, if it
Right,
snows,
but, you know,
if it snows, they're out.
You're right, they're gone,
I
they're
mean,
working anyway.
Day is-
That's true, that's true.
Yeah,
Okay. Anything else?
that's it.
Jeff?
Yeah, I have one comment, and I'm not opening this for discussion, just I want to put it out there.
Don't let us talk, you just talk.
What's that?
Carry on.
What's that?
I said, you get to talk, don't let us talk.
Okay. So, well, this is just a comment, it's not a discussion point for the meeting. So we really need to start showing some concerted effort towards coming up with a plan for whatever we're gonna do on 12th Road. I do not feel that we limit it to 12th Road to Kiowa. Now is the opportunity to take care of all taxpayers out there. That's gonna include you know, annexing properties. That's gonna include some easements for future stuff. And it'd be, as we all know, it'd be a lot cheaper to do it now than it would be later. The comment in the past that I've always heard is, well, you chose to live where you live, so you live with what you have. That, to me, that's totally unacceptable. And I just feel that I'd like to see at a committee level to start the thinking process of that. And at some stage, we need to engage at least a representative of the area. Because we can go out and talk to everybody and say, hey, you know, we're throwing some ideas, what do you think? It'd be a lot better to have somebody that is a little shielded from council, in my opinion. So that's all I have.
You put that on the street committee agenda for discussion.
And I would like to know when the next street committee is, because I will be attending as a guest and a representative initially for the residents that live in the affected area. That's all I got.
Okay. Keith? No.
I have nothing.
My first conference this year was actually really informative. They had lots of different classes you could choose from, and we each kind of split up to take advantage of the most knowledge as possible, and found, you know, heard a lot of interesting ideas to keep youth coming back to the area. So I was going to talk to Josh and the mayor about maybe implementing something along those lines as well, and maybe got in contact with someone with some different funding ideas for like fire trucks and storm shelters and stuff that, you know, we normally couldn't get through like FEMA and stuff. There's a lot of guidelines if you, there's processes to take it, but it'd be interesting ways of funding those things and getting the things that we need and fixing, you know, bad buildings that we have, like the, concession stand comes second as a storm shelter, so you can use them at both same time, using FEMA funds as long as you're set up that way. So it was just very informative. I'm gonna look a lot more into that to see if we can't use some of that to, you know, help further us into the future and get us the things we need without great expense to the local taxpayers anyway. So appreciate the citizens in the city for allowing me to go and learn all those things. It was a good time. A lot of staring at people talking, but it was informative. It really was. I didn't know what to expect, obviously, because I'd never been to one, but it was neat, and I hope to continue to go to those and get more information. And then to Jeff's point, I agree. I don't know if we can wait 2 years to do something with 12th Road. I know we're not responsible for any promises that were made 27 years ago. I get that. But I've gotten a lot of calls and a lot of texts and a lot of emails as well about it, even though it's not my ward. But, you know, we represent everybody no matter what. Yep. But there's just got to be a way we can find a funding mechanism or a way to get this done. They've been paying taxes for how long they've been annexed, and, you know, I know we didn't make the promise, but we still need to uphold our duty to, you know, have good roads and a safe way for them and their families to get to and from. So I just think we need to push harder on that aspect and find a way to get it done. That's it.
Can I add to that? That the people I talk to are pretty adamant not to leave it gravel.
Well, yeah.
That's where they stand.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
I think the whole intention was to start building a base so that we could put.
Right, that was the whole process.
They're just telling me not to leave it gravel.
Yeah, and that's why I'm adamant in that we make sure we're careful the way we talk about it, because we know this is the stage, this is not completion, so.
That's it.
Go.
It was brought to my attention by multiple daycare providers in the area. Dargett's Park is rough as far as safety concerns. I emailed Josh in regards to this, but I just wanted to bring it up. I think that it's a great idea to potentially discuss new parks in different areas of the community, but I think that we kind of need to focus on what we have, especially Dargett's. I lived up there. That's very frequently used, especially by daycare, so I think it'd be good for us to take a look at potentially seeing what kind of funding is out there for new equipment in that park. Or
so you're talking about safety concerns with current equipment, or
current equipment and just in general the playground area.
Just the area. Yeah, just like the normal wear, but it's
we're not talking about. I guess what I'm getting at, we're not talking about like traffic or.
No, just the equipment.
Yep.
And
I think the traffic around that area has been helped a lot by the
signs for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. But yeah, that's
some of that equipment was put in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because I remember, sorority did funding for some of it. So.
When we go to talk about it, just don't be shocked. That stuff is
so
much more expensive than you think it would be.
One of the quotes we got for Lakeview. New equipment, that was egregious, but.
It's way more than you would.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe we can lean on Josh as far as discussions for potential grant options out there for green spaces,
or,
things like
you
that.
said some local nonprofits have helped in the past if they wanted to sponsor it.
I think we need to focus on the parks that we have as far as upgrading them before we start getting a little far out over our skis with new parks.
Agreed. So. And you know, in defense of the YAC, their conversation was, they thought, well, it's going to develop if you at least have a dedicated
Yeah.
place,
No, it's a
then that
great
gives you
idea.
the opportunity to develop it further.
It's a
and-
great
Which
idea.
I thought was,
It is.
it's good to see kids talking about us
Yes.
thinking 20 years down the line when they
Yeah.
aren't even 20
For
years
real.
old.
I
So.
mean, it is, but yeah, that was brought to my attention by multiple daycare providers that utilize that park.
Well, if there's imminent hazards, then I mean, we can probably remediate that right now and then look at the long-term fixes too.
As far as rehabilitating our parks or redoing them, if anybody has ideas or wants to be a part of a group in order to do that, please come to City Hall. We'll take down your information. And, you know, we've been trying to start a group. We've had conversations with other residents, trying to get something going. So please come forward, and so that way we can really get moving on it.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Kyle. Only had a couple things. This last week, there was Civic Engagement Day at the high school. It was all the juniors and seniors from the county. I was invited to speak along with a representative of the school board, the mayor, Doug Weitzel of Blue Rapids, and Sandy Wilson from the clerk's office. And kids got to register to vote if they haven't registered. They got sample ballots. They got explained how that process worked. And we got to give them a rah-rah, go be involved speech. Emily Rockwell, the YEC, did get up and speak on behalf of them, kind of impromptu. She got invited by Sandy. I'd mentioned them when I spoke, and she stood up and, you know, gave a really good, quick speech, I thought, about what they do. And it was kind of a good opportunity. I've been in conversation with Mr. Woodcock on how we might develop that into even more. And I mean, they have County Government Day in the spring with seniors, but I said, you know, civic engagement's more than elected offices. There's a lot of organizations and things, and you know, what's it look like to have that be a bigger event where there's civic organizations or others, and kind of make it more of a all-day event, or even all morning, because this was only a couple hours. But at any rate, it was a good opportunity to kind of get out there, and there were a couple kids, you know, asking questions, which is also great. I like to see a little interaction. The other thing was, thank you to all who went to the conference last week. I wasn't able to go, but like Chris said, you bring back lots of good ideas. There's a lot to be said at those. You learn from, I think, the classes, but you learn a lot from just meeting people from other cities and what experiences they've had. This evening before I came, I watched a little bit of the Abilene City Council meeting, because a friend of mine's city commission meeting there was on that commission, and they talked about, I think, 4 different issues while I was watching, and every single one of them are something we've dealt with. One of them was stormwater, who knew? And what projects to prioritize. One of them was working with the railroad, the Union Pacific that goes through Abilene. Another one was on something, working with a school on a project. I thought, you know, it's the same everywhere. We can learn a lot by just kind of making those connections and having those friends and leaning on each other, as far as cities in Kansas and beyond. So, but again, thank you to those who went. I can't wait to hear some of those ideas and how that'll help the city of Marysville. Other than that, that's all I had.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Ditto.
We're adjourned.